Hello, I'm Lisa Burkhardt Worley, and welcome to Pop Talk, the show where you never know what topics might pop up. Do you enjoy the Olympics? I enjoy the Olympics. Not only do I enjoy the Olympics, but I covered the Olympics at one time as a sportscaster, the 1994 Winter Games in Lillehammer, Norway. I was Lisa in Lillehammer. Well, today, guess what? We're going to have a Winter Olympian on the show, and he has an amazing story. I can't wait for you to meet him. But first, I want you to meet our Pop Talk co-host. To my far right is Aurora Ortega Geis, down here from Bernie, Texas. We're so excited to have you. She's part of our Up There. I guess it's Up There, isn't it?
Or Up Here.
Yeah, you know what? I'm directionally challenged. I don't ever have me direct you anywhere. Okay, but it's good to have you on the show. And Rosemary Legrand is to my
Hello,
immediate
everyone.
right. Well, I'm just so thrilled. I've been looking forward to this because it brings me back to my sportscasting days, this show today. I want to introduce our guest. He's a former Olympic bobsledder, and he's from Texas. How does that happen? And a bobsledder from Texas. His name is Johnny Quinn. And so let's invite Johnny to the Pop Talk set. I wanted him to take a bobsled up here, but we couldn't quite fit that into the studio.
That'd be fun.
So good to have you on the show,
Awesome.
Johnny. Welcome.
Thank you.
We've had some conversations on email, but it's great to meet you in person now.
Yeah.
And let me tell people a little bit about you. You've got a great bio, so we want people to know exactly what you've been doing. In addition to competing in the 2014 Olympic bobsled team in Sochi, Russia, he's also a former NFL and CFL football player with the Buffalo Bills, the Green Bay Packers, that's my husband's favorite team, by the way, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Johnny played college football for the University of North Texas, one of my alma maters, where he was part of 3 football conference championships and played in 3 bowl games. Go Mean Green. He was the school's all-time leading receiver in receptions and receiving yards. He also competed in the NCAA Regional Track and Field Championships and was named to the University of North Texas Hall of Fame. Wow. And the All-Century team. That means he was really good. Okay. He's the author of the book Push, Breaking Through the Barriers, and has a TED Talk out called Understanding the Olympic Mindset. That is a list of accomplishments, Johnny, and you've done some amazing things. You're a dynamic guy, and it's just great to have you on Pop Talk today. Tell us some about the glory years at North Texas, mainly because, you know, I'm a Mean Green fan, and obviously sports came very easy for you, right?
Well, you know, Denton, America, home of the UNT Mean Green, just a wonderful experience there to be a part of 3 conference championships, playing 3 bowl games. I walked onto the track and field team while I was there, so I just had a great time at the University of North Texas. Earned a degree in pre-law because after sport, I thought maybe I'd go the attorney route, represent professional athletes, and so I had a change in plans on that, which we'll get to. But you know, North Texas, such a wonderful university. I really enjoyed my time at UNT and just have some fond memories there.
I love that. I also love the fact that you have so much energy, Johnny. And
It's like, bring it.
yes, it's like, bring it, right?
Yeah.
We just love that. But you know, after college, you definitely caught the attention of the NFL, and specifically the Scouts, and you had an opportunity to play for the Green Bay Packers. All of us want to know, especially people that are listening to this show, how do you go from one level to the next?
Yeah.
Tell us about that next level experience.
Yeah, you know, when you grow up in Texas and you play Texas high school football, we're all thinking NFL. So when that opportunity came to see my name in the National Football League in a locker room with a franchise, a storybook franchise like the Green Bay Packers, I mean, it was really a dream come true. And so, you know, bounced around with Green Bay, with the Buffalo Bills, and just had a little bit of a journey through professional football. But I remember walking into that locker room and you see your name, you see your jersey, you see everything up there, and the time has arrived. And you think about all the hard work and the dedication and the people that loved you and supported you through all the trials to get you there. It's a surreal experience. And it was awesome, right? It was, yeah, it was incredible.
Can't even imagine.
Oh my gosh, they're awesome. But not everyone can relate to that kind of success.
Yeah.
Now, even you experienced some failures in the NFL and also later in the CFL. You know, I'm sure that's difficult for some people, you know, who had, especially for you, who have always been a high achiever. Could you tell me a little bit about how your down days went?
Yeah, so think about this. I entered the NFL at 22 years old, dream come true. But by age 26, I'd been cut 3 times, I lost $2.6 million, and I blew out my knee, right? And so here I am, you know, you want to talk about life hitting you in the face. I mean, it beat me down, and I was devastated because, you know, up to that point, I had always been good at football. And so for somebody to call me in multiple times, right, 2 in the NFL, 1 in the CFL, and to say, Johnny, you're not good enough. Today we are cutting you. Contract gone, opportunity gone, job gone. It was devastating. And, you know, so here I am, 26 years old. My first career as a pro football player was an absolute train wreck. And I kind of joke in some of my speaking engagements, I became an avid reader after getting cut all those times. And here's why. Here's what I had to find out. Are there men and women further along the road of life than I was at that time? Remember, I'm in my mid-20s, okay? So bear with me. Have they overcome failure? Yeah. Have they overcome a setback? And the more I started to read and kind of understand men and women who have gone before me and have accomplished things in life, I started to realize, oh my gosh, this is kind of like a precursor. You have to have setbacks, and how you overcome those springboard you to future success, which we'll unpack together. So, but it was devastating. I don't ever want to get cut again. I hate that feeling. Yeah,
It's a horrible feeling.
It is a horrible feeling.
But you know what? When God closes a door,
Yeah.
He opens a window, right? I mean, that's my motto. I now believe that and understand that. I remember I played small college basketball. I was a starter, and then I was benched, and I hardly played at all. And so I said, do I want to sit here on a bench the next year just so I can get the blanket, right? And so I didn't. I ended up announcing those games. You see, because God had a different plan for me.
Yeah.
There's a great psalm that says, Psalm 119:71 says, it was good for me to be afflicted so that I might learn your decrees. Often God allows these failures so He can teach us something, but also so He can move us into the direction that He's trying to lead us.
Yes.
And sometimes He has to do it with tough love. So what did you learn during your career crash in the NFL that you probably might not have experienced before?
Yeah. So getting cut now, and you can see it when you look back, right, on your journey through life, is that was the best thing to happen for me, because what happened is I realized that my identity was tied to my career in football. And so as long as I was catching footballs and that direct deposit was going in every Tuesday, right, things were good. But when football got taken away, it was similar to Matthew 7, where Jesus talks about building your house on sand or the rock. And had I have made it in the NFL, right, and got all that money, I feel like I have a decent amount of common sense. I wouldn't have spent it all, but here's what would have happened if I would have played that out. I would have continued to have packed that hill of sand of, hey, look what I accomplished, look what I did. And when the storm came, it all came crashing down. And so I needed that to be taken away to realize that my identity is secure in Christ. Whether I'm a professional athlete or not doesn't matter. But until that was taken away, I needed that sculpting, that molding for me. Yeah.
That is so beautiful to hear, your humility, that when you fell rock bottom, you knew that there was going to be something more for you, but you submitted, you acquiesced, right? And so I love what Lisa said. You went from, in essence, success, rejection to a new direction.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about this new identity and this new door that opened for you, this opportunity that you never thought you would ever do, and that is to be a member of the United States Olympic Bobsled Team. Oh my God!
What a pumpkin!
Right? I mean, come on! You gotta tell. That's a huge huge transition.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So here's what you do. You just watch Cool Runnings over and over and over, right? No.
Cool Runnings.
You know, what was funny is at that point, you know, I'm still thinking, right, and I think we all do this. I was familiar with football. That's all I knew. So here I am trying to cling on to something that the door has been closed. But at this point, 3 cuts, a blown out knee, you know, I look like damaged goods to NFL teams, to professional teams. So the door is shut. And some things started to line up. My agent at the time represented a bobsledder back in the day. My mom, one of her coworkers, was a bobsledder back in the day. And so since there's no NCAA level bobsledding, right, you don't go to college to bobsled, they recruit from all sports, but mainly football and track and field. And so I kind of fit that mold on, you know, what they look for in a bobsledder. And so I'm having this conversation with this driver at the Olympic Training Center. He says, Johnny, why don't you come out here in a couple months, you know, push a bobsled around, see if you like it. And so I said, okay, I'll come out, but if my agent finds a football team, I'm out of here. True story. 1 month before I'm supposed to go get my Cool Runnings on, I get a phone call from this driver. Johnny, one of my guys has showed up overweight. Do you want to come up now and compete in the U.S. 4-man team trials? And so I'm like, well, when's the race? He goes, it's in 2 days. I said, 2 days? Come on, I've never pushed a bobsled in my life. He's like, Johnny. All you have to do is get inside the sled. And so, true story, I flew in the night before team trials. My first time ever on ice was at the U.S. 4-man team trials, and we took 3rd place.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Right? It was unexpected. Now watch what. So my identity was tied to my career as a football player, right? That was my worldly idol. When you grow up in Texas and you play sports, you don't think bobsled. Man, how beautiful is that for the Lord to take something that was broken in my life
Oh, wow.
and then redeem it, right? I mean, I remember walking in opening ceremonies and wearing the red, white, and blue, them saying the United States of America, and all that made sense. All those cuts, those setbacks at that point made sense.
Wow. Yeah. You know, I can relate to Cool Runnings because I was born in the Caribbean.
Oh,
Yeah, I was born in the Caribbean,
Great movie.
you know. And Johnny, you ended up developing an Olympic mindset,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and the subject of your TED Talk, you know. In it, you speak about the importance of giving more.
Right.
Tell me, well, here's a clip about that message.
And see, if you struggle with commitment, this is a very tough step. But if you want to give more in life, especially during tough times, a decision has to be made. Are you all in? Because what you're going to find is once you make a decision, there is a price to pay.
Wow. And in that TED Talk, you also talked about the dangers of comparing to others, right? And you did that a lot in the NFL. I know even in the media we can do that. We can look at that person that's at that top level and think we're not as good as they are or whatever. Sometimes it's just the doors like we talked about that open. So can you share about how your mindset changed as an Olympian?
Yeah, you know, I think the daily battle is comparison versus contentment, a healthy form of contentment. And you're right, when I was in the NFL, I wasted so many days to comparison. And here's the thing, I would never say it out loud. But I had these thoughts of, maybe if I was taller, I could have played longer. Maybe if I, had Tom Brady's agent, I could have played longer. Maybe if I went to a bigger university, I could have played longer. I wasted all these days to comparison. And when I made the switch to Olympic sports, I was not perfect, but I started winning more of these healthy days of contentment, right? Because a healthy form of contentment is not laziness. It's not complacency. What it does is it finds a way to get the job done with the current resources available.
You know, gratitude is another thing that we can have. I just heard a message today, and it just impacted me so much because we have a conference coming up. It'll be past by the time you air. But, I mean, we've been so anxious. I've been so worried about everything, all the details.
Yeah.
And I heard this message, and he said, you know what? Instead of being anxious or being comparing, be grateful. You can be grateful. Hey, a lot of people didn't make it to the NFL at all. A lot of people didn't step foot onto the Green Bay Packers field.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't even get that opportunity. So you can take that thought captive and you can turn it around.
That's right.
And show gratitude for having that opportunity. And maybe it's because of that opportunity that you had the opportunity to be on the Olympic bobsled
That's right.
team, because they knew that you were such a successful athlete, right?
Sure, absolutely. You know, I heard somebody say this one time, is sometimes you got to speak your resume to yourself, right? Of what what you've been through matters. And we all have struggles, we all have challenges. It's, to your point, Lisa, is how do you frame that? Right, well, we get to choose how we frame a struggle or a situation, so absolutely.
I love how you're framing the identity of who you are. It's not only the trials that you've had in the past, but it's also speaking into existence who you believe you will be into the future. And I loved what you said. You had you had healthy days of contentment.
That's right.
As you were transitioning, right?
That's right.
But then as you continued your journey as an Olympic bobsledder, there was an opportunity for you to meet some very important people. And this is the president and the first lady. And so you've been featured on national news, but there was this funny thing that happened, right? At the Olympic Village bathroom, and it also made national news. You've got to tell us what happened.
So I'm walking in opening ceremonies, which was incredible. The next day, I get stuck in my bathroom in the Olympic Village. I could not get out of my bathroom. And so I had to break down this door. I took a picture, I put it on social media, and in 24 hours, it got 28,000 retweets, seen by an estimated 10 million people across the world. The BBC took it first, they sent it out to Yahoo, and it just went viral. My first viral clip I've ever been a part of. And so who knew a door in Russia would have created so much excitement? I should have kept some of the door. I didn't know. I didn't know. So, going to the White House, meeting the president and first lady, really opened up some doors. No pun intended.
I love that.
It really did.
That's so good.
It really did.
Got to be known for something.
There you go.
I do. We got a little time, Johnny, so I just want to ask you another question just about the Olympics in general. A lot of people would like to know what it's like just as an athlete to be there. I know at the parade and everything that happens there. Can you talk about some of the highlights that you had during the Olympics and just what it meant to you personally?
In opening ceremonies, you walk with your home country, right? Everybody walks in, and you walk in according to the alphabet of the home country. And so not everybody knew Russian, so it was kind of hard to get all the right countries lined up. So it took 7 hours to get everybody lined up to walk. So think about that. Let me share something cool about closing. The closing ceremonies, you walk in with all the athletes, all the countries together. And so I remember walking in with a skier from Argentina and a coach from Kazakhstan, and you walk into Olympic Village, cameras are going crazy, and you just sit down with everybody together. That was a cool moment. That was pretty special.
What about the rush you felt maybe when you were in that bobsled for the first time and you were about to compete?
So, if you've ever been on a roller coaster, it's a very violent roller coaster. Now think about this, at any time that roller coaster can break, because in bobsled we crash, and so when you're going 80 miles an hour, down an icy mountain with no seat belts, I mean, it's a crazy, crazy ride. So the adrenaline is out of the roof. I mean, you are fired up pushing that sled. I'll tell you this, when I got to that start block in the Olympic Games, so I started bobsledding in 2010. I go to the Olympics in 2014, so I did a 4-year, an Olympic cycle is what they would call it. I've got hundreds of, maybe thousands of reps under my belt. I remember stepping on Olympic ice, and you see all the fans, everybody has their country, flag flying everywhere. I mean, it is a cool atmosphere, but you are so dialed in, you don't hear any of it, right? You're so locked in because you are there for a purpose, right? Something that you've worked hard for has now come to, is realized now. And so even though we only spent 3 minutes and 14 seconds on Olympic ice, that 4 years of prep time the question is, was it worth it? Yes, it was. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned that we have to speak our resume to ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that is a profound statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've written a book called Push, Breaking Through the Barriers. And you do a lot of motivational speaking. Johnny, what is your primary message?
Yeah, one of the things I talk about in my book extensively, and even during my keynotes, is we have to borrow wisdom, right? We've got to learn from people who are 3, 4, 5 steps down the road we want to go. And here's what I've noticed. I look for common denominators in people. I like studying ultra performers, men and women who just crush it at work, at life, in their marriage, just across the board. And here's what I've found. I found that they protect the content they consume. Right, so to our listeners, let me ask you this. What are you watching? What are you reading? Who are you listening to? Are you borrowing wisdom from the right people? And another way we could put that is, before you borrow the wisdom, I need you to be a fruit inspector. I need you to evaluate the fruits of somebody's labor before you borrow the wisdom.
True.
Right? Because in the age of technology, this digital age we live in, the power of social media, we need to, I think Dr. Covey says it this way, we need to pause between the stimulus and the response. We ask, is that healthy? Yes or no? Right? And so I routinely speak about borrowing the wisdom, borrowing healthy wisdom. Yeah.
You got to be careful about who you follow.
Right.
Do you have a chance to speak into licensed children and youth and those? I know you speak to a lot of adults and companies and things like that, but do kids ever come up to you and ask how to achieve like you've achieved?
Yeah, good question. So I do a lot of corporate engagements as a U.S. Olympian. I also have a heart for training up the next generation. And so I have age-appropriate keynotes where I go into elementary schools, bring an Olympian to your school, and I host assemblies and things like that. And so, one of the fun things we do in the elementary is we get them to sit in a bobsled, not a real one, but kind of sit what it's like. And I tell you, the hardest thing is figuring out how to pick, 4 volunteers out of a sea of 500 because everybody raises their hand who wants to come up and help. So, yeah, what I've realized is as a professional athlete, as a United States Olympian, God has given me a platform to impact others. And so I want to use that wisely.
I think that's so important that whatever it is, I always think my sportscasting for almost 20 years is a platform that God used because for the ultimate calling, which was broadcasting for him and spreading his truth like that. So I think that is so important that you see that. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
Aurora's stepping into that. I mean, and Rosemary has done that. I mean, she worked for American Airlines for a number of years, and look what she's doing. And she's doing so many great things now for the kingdom. And so I want you to speak, and maybe you could speak to the camera, but I would like for you to help someone who may be feeling a sense of failure right now.
Yeah.
Who, you went through it. I know I went through it. I had a massive job loss, but, guess what? That turned me into the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think God sometimes uses failure to point us where we're supposed to be, where he wants us to be. So can you just talk to that person who's watching, who may be just down in the dumps right now, who may think their life is over, or who may think that, because of a job loss or something else like that, that they are not accomplishing anything. So can you share what you would say to somebody about failure?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say let's back out a little bit and let's look at the bigger picture. And it reminds me of Hebrews 13:8, where Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And it makes me think of Psalm 139, just a reminder that you are wonderfully made. You are uniquely made. All the days have been already lined out for you before creation. And so you matter. You are valuable. If you're watching this, we're filming October 2021. You are built for today. Why? Because the Holy Spirit empowers you if you are a believer. And so I think if we can back out and understand that Jesus Christ is who he says he is yesterday, today, and tomorrow, there's comfort in that. Practically speaking, I'm a type A extrovert. I'm always looking for, what tools can you give me? I had a mentor tell me this, and this really resonated. So maybe you chew on this for a little bit, are your actions consistent with the outcomes that you've been hoping and praying for? Right? Not in a weird legalistic way. We're not going to earn our way there. But let me just this is just something to consider. Are your actions consistent with the outcomes that you've been hoping and praying for? If they're not, great, then we know where we can improve. If they are, maybe they are, great, keep pressing in, keep praying, keep asking. Right? We're not going to annoy God. Keep bringing it to the table. And so I hope that was helpful for you.
I absolutely love that, Johnny, that you spoke to so many people in the audience that they need to continually press in beyond their current circumstance or failure. And what I love is that God is always in the business of making each and every one of us new creations. So our past does not define our future. And as the Apostle Paul says in Philippians 3:13, we should forget what is behind and strain toward what is ahead.
Yeah.
So we also know, switching gears here a little bit on some good news, speaking of the future. You are expecting your first child.
Second child.
I'm sorry, second child. With Amanda, your wife.
Yes.
And any day now.
Any day.
So we are praying for you, but we're also so thankful that you're bringing another child into this world, and we just speak blessing over you and your family and over your children.
We actually had a discussion about this. He goes, well, my wife is due right about the time you all are taping.
Yeah.
And so I said, he goes, what do you want to do? I said, well, okay. I'm going to pray that the baby holds off. And so let's go ahead and try to do it.
I'm so glad it worked out. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Johnny, as you can see, is a very dynamic speaker. We're so grateful that you were coming here to tell your story about failures and successes. But if you want to get a hold of Johnny, this is where you can find him to invite him at your next event. You can go to his website at johnnyquinnusa.com. Johnny is JOHNNY QUINNUSA.com.
Awesome.
And we would love for you to reach out to us here at Pearls of Promise Ministries. You can find us at pearlsofpromiseministries.com. We're also on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Pop Talk Media and on Instagram at Pop_Ministries. And I want to talk to you about a fabulous opportunity online. You can be anywhere in the world and join us on Pop Chat. Our own Aurora Ortega Geis is going to be speaking, and her message is 33 Days in the Valley. 33 Days in the Valley. So if you want to join us, we have worship, we have prayer, we have a message, and we have discussion because we want to talk about what we just heard. So you can email us at info@pearlsofpromiseministries.com.
And we are so pleased to announce the addition of 2 television platforms, World Trumpet TV Network and the Bloom Channel. We are thankful to God for this blessing. We are also grateful for our 7 other television channels, or platforms rather. Faith Unveiled Network, Paula White's Life Network for Women, King Television, Overcomers TV, CTN Tallahassee, CTF TV, and Channel 49 right here in Fort Worth, Texas.
It is such a blessing. And we're going to have to do like a roll of all these platforms. So we're not doing anything. They're coming to us because they love Pop Talk. And we want to thank our production studio, Grace Point Media. For all your media needs, go to gracepoint.media. Well, that is Pop Talk for today. We're just ordinary girls
who God's turning into pearls.
Have a great week and go get in your bobsled.